I just can't get over how great it is. And that I'm like, look, I'm standing up, I'm not facing a computer, and that I'm looking at all of you, and it's like a beautiful day, and this just feels so good, right? Yes, awesome. Have you ever had one of those moments where you realize, like your eyes open and suddenly something clicks, and you learn something for the first time, but you recognize that it's probably something that you should have acknowledged or been aware of like a long time ago? Like, maybe it's you find out that it's actually pronounced espresso, not espresso. Or it's I couldn't care less, not I could care less, because I could care less doesn't really make sense. Or maybe they're like lyrics to a song that you sang incorrectly like your whole life and you had no idea. Like for the longest time, the lyrics to Mr. Brightside by the Killers, I thought it was open up my evil eyes, not my eager eyes. And when I told someone that, they said, Grace, why would it be evil eyes? That doesn't make any sense. And I was like, I don't know. I guess I'd never really thought about it. I was just completely blind to, the lyrics. Anyway, there's a story in the book of Luke, which you know is the story about Jesus. And there are these two followers of Jesus who are walking along the road, and Jesus has died, and they found out that Jesus' body is gone. And so they're talking about these things that have happened. Their hearts are heavy. And then this stranger walks up to them and says like, hey, what are you guys talking about? And that would be like right now, you walking down the street and a stranger coming up really close to you and saying, hey, why is everyone wearing masks? Like, where have you been? Like, what are you talking about? And so the followers of Jesus are like, are you the only person who doesn't know Jesus, who is this prophet, powerful in word and deed, who we were hoping was going to redeem Israel, who's going to save us from oppression, from injustice? He's dead. And not only that, his body is gone. And we don't know how to make sense of this. Are you the only person who doesn't know? And then this stranger starts talking to them about the scriptures and putting the pieces together. And they're walking along the road and they get to the end of where they're going, and the stranger is going to keep walking. And they say, no, please come stay with us. So the stranger comes inside, and then they sit down to have a meal. And the stranger grabs this loaf of bread and blesses it and gives thanks, and then they realize that it's Jesus. Their skin starts tingling and the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. This is Jesus. Jesus who was supposed to be dead, whose body was buried in a tomb, whose body went missing. This is Jesus. It's eager eyes, not evil eyes. He's right there. And somehow they missed it. They didn't realize that it was Jesus until they sat down to have a meal together. Let that sink in for a second. They didn't realize that Jesus, God, was with them until they sat down at a table to have a meal together. I think one thing that we learned throughout COVID is that Zoom church is not the same. Zoom and gloom is real. Prayer is not the same on Zoom. Worship is not the same on Zoom. There's something about gathering together. At Reunion, this concept of table is such a big part of who we are, because we know that something happens when you sit down at a table with people and you have a meal. It's like all of a sudden you are equal and barriers are down, and it's like you're human and I'm human and we both eat food and we both need food and this is great and we can just laugh. Something happens when you sit down at a table. It's like your eyes are opened. And for months, the elders and I have been listening to where God is directing us and trying to put together in one statement who we are at Reunion and what we're about. And the beginning of the statement, it says, Reunion is a welcoming church of everyday people. And the meaning behind that part of the statement is table. We welcome everybody at the table. Everybody has a spot at the table. It doesn't matter where you are with Jesus, you are welcome at the table. But there's this critical part in the story. I don't know if you caught it or not. I actually didn't catch it. Someone pointed it out to me. Jesus, the stranger, is going to keep walking. But they say, no, Jesus, come stay with us. But they don't know that it's Jesus at the time, it's just a stranger. They say, no, please come stay with us. And In the text, it seems like they're saying this because they're trying to be hospitable, or they're worried because it's late. They say, hey, no, look, it's late. It's better if you just come inside, have a meal. And I've been thinking a lot about why they asked this stranger to stay. And I think it's more than they're just being hospitable. It says later, this is in Luke chapter 24, by the way, that their hearts were burning as they were listening to Jesus. Something was connecting. Jesus was putting the pieces together in a way that was redemptive, in a way that was giving them hope, meaning, understanding. Their hearts were heavy, they were grieving, and this stranger was giving them comfort, community. So it's not just that we have a table or we have a party or a celebration. We also invite Jesus. We come with the hope and expectation that Jesus is going to meet us at the table, that our eyes are going to be open to his presence, that Jesus is going to do the transforming work that Jesus does. Why Jesus? Because Jesus gives us hope. Jesus puts the pieces together in a way that's redemptive. Jesus comforts us. I think we just need to be reminded of that right now in the season where so many things don't make sense. So many things are hard. Perfect. Thank you, Joel. Thank you. Someone told me recently that Labor Day feels like a bigger transition. It feels like a new year more than January 1st. I think that's because it's just still winter and dark and gloomy in January, but there's like a season change here. And transitions, new year, it's always an opportunity for reflection and an opportunity to look forward, which is kind of what we're doing here. Where are we going, but also reflecting. So we want to give you some time just to talk in groups about a couple things, and in your notes I have 3 questions. And share as you feel comfortable. You can also just reflect on the questions privately to yourself. The first question is, what's something that you're celebrating? What's something that's really great right now that you want to share with other people? Second thing is, what's something that you are lamenting? You want to acknowledge that this is not the way that it should be. This is hard. I'm just going to put it out there, name it. And then, why Jesus? It's a question that we ask a lot at Reunion. Why Jesus? Why are you still choosing Jesus even in a difficult season? And maybe your answer right now is more like, I don't know. I feel like following Jesus is more like following a stranger, and I'm just hoping my eyes are open, and that's okay. Feel free to share that if you want. And maybe throughout the week, your prayer might be, God, will you open my eyes to see you where you're leading me? Why Jesus? Why do we keep choosing Jesus?